Well, hello. Thank you for taking time to watch this video and come up to speed on what's happening at CE National. If I've never met you before, my name's Jeff Bogue. I'm the new president of CE National and am honored to have that leadership position. I've been friends with Ed Lewis for 27 years and worked a lot on Momentum with him as well as some other projects. And I feel honored to kind of take the reins of his leadership and continue to steer CE into the future. There's a lot of changes happening at CE right now, and many of them are driven as a result of the COVID-19 virus that has affected all of us and has affected CE National in some pretty dynamic ways. And we have found it necessary to make some pretty big changes and to make them pretty quickly. And one of the things that we know is that when you make big changes quickly, what tends to suffer is communication. And so we're trying to make an effort to communicate with all those interested in what's going on with CE National. The way that CE works financially is we will spend money kind of all year long, and we'll get ready for big summer programs, especially Operation Barnabas, the Urban Hope Centers in Philadelphia and Los Angeles, and then Momentum. This year, as we were doing that, right at about the peak of our spending is when COVID-19 hit. And when COVID-19 hit, it has prevented us from doing the things that allow us to recover the money that we've invested, because that's the cycle in ministry. You spend money, and then we recover that money, and then we spend it again, so to say. So right at the peak of that spending, we lost the ability, for instance, to bring teams into Urban Hope. Both our LA location and our Philadelphia location, we have not been able to have any teams in at all this summer, and don't foresee the possibility of doing that even in the near future. And then you may know already, we also had to cancel Momentum Youth Conference. Momentum is 78 years in a row we've had that youth conference, the first time we've ever had to cancel it. And when we did that, we lost the investment that we make to have that youth conference and lost our ability to recoup those funds as well. So not only has that been disappointing to us on a ministry side, we love these ministries, we believe very strongly in training, very strongly in helping young people and churches be on mission, but it's been devastating to us financially as well. We've had almost an $800,000 loss because of the cancellations of those events. And that loss is a very, very significant loss to CE National and has sparked the speed of a lot of the changes that I want to walk you through. So some of the changes are positive. For instance, we're super excited that Eric Miller has joined our staff. He came on in March before COVID hit, and Eric is our new director of ministry operations, so he would oversee Operation Barnabas and the Urban Hope Ministries, as well as Momentum Youth Conference. Eric's doing a phenomenal job. Was a pastor in Maryland for 17 years, youth pastor, friend of CE National, former Operation Barnabas leader and participant. So super excited to have him on board. Another exciting thing to talk about is Andy Michael and his wife Michelle have joined us as our new Urban Hope Director of Philadelphia. And so Andy has been trained here at Grace Church of Greater Akron and is excited to get into Philadelphia and begin to reimagine and reinvigorate our ministries there. Another thing to be excited about is that Ed Lewis is on sabbatical right now and is going to come back to a retirement at the end of August. And so 45 years Ed has led and been a part of CE National. He's been a friend and a mentor to me. And so super excited for him and grateful to kind of stand in his legacy as we move forward. Now, some of the more difficult things that we have to talk about are these decisions that we've had to make. And there's kind of three big ones that are going to show up in a major way. The first one is actually kind of fun, but it's a lot of change that's going to happen with it. and that's that we're going to go through the process of rebranding and recommunicating who CE National is and what we do. And so there's going to be kind of lots of new websites, maybe even a name change to CE National, and lots of new and fresh communication about who it is that we are and what we do and what we value. And that change will show up in the fall or close to the first of the year this year. Another major change that's going to happen is that we're going to divest ourselves of our properties in Winona Lake, Indiana. Now, this is actually something the board has been talking about before I came on as president. They've been looking for a few years and saying with the change that's happened with technology, with kind of the comfortability with people working remotely, do we need all of the buildings and grounds that we own in Winona Lake? And because of the financial crisis that's sparked by COVID-19, we've made the decision that we can move on from that investment. We feel like that was a great investment. We feel like it served a real purpose for a long time. We're grateful for it, but that we just don't need those properties and the overhead that's with it moving forward. So our desire is that they will be purchased by another ministry. We'd like them to stay in the kingdom of God. We want to honor the reason that money was get to purchase them and that investments were made. We want those properties to continue to reach people, but they are for sale, and we plan on and desire to divest ourselves of them and sell our Winona Lake property. Now that leads to the third big change, and of course if we're going to sell that property, that means that we're going to relocate the headquarters of CE National. And so as soon as we're able to, the headquarters of CE National are going to move here to Akron, Ohio. I am the president of CE National, but I'm also the senior pastor of Grace Church of Greater Akron. And Akron, Ohio gives us a few good things when it comes to CE National. One is that it puts CE National kind of in the middle of our ministry regions. Akron is kind of in the middle of Indiana and Pennsylvania, Maryland. We kind of sit there. We have easy access to highways and easy access to airports, travel, all those kind of things. It's a better location for us as far as that's concerned. The other big reason why we want to make that move is because it allows us to lower our overhead. Grace Church of Greater Akron is not taking over CE National. The two organizations are going to be completely separate. We're not mixing the books, we're not mixing the money, we're not taking charge of that. As the president of CE National, I still answer to the board of CE National. And so I have two jobs because we have two locations. But what we can do as a church, as a mega church, is we can share our resources with CE National. So instead of 4 office buildings, we can have 1 office building. Instead of 4 parking lots to plow, we have 1 grass to mow, 1 copier contract, 1 internet contract, etc. And by sharing our resources with CE National, we're able to get our overhead at CE National lower, which makes us kind of lean and mean as we go forward. I really believe that these changes are important and that they're healthy, they're quick, and that's why we're making such an effort to communicate. But I believe in the long term, God is really going to bless them. As we recover from the hit that COVID brought, and as we recapitalize by the sale of our property, we look and say that we believe the best days of CE National are ahead of us. We fully intend to have Momentum Youth Conference next summer. We fully intend to reopen both of our Urban Hope locations. We even had a version of Operation Barnabas this year, and we fully intend to grow that program and deepen it. We want to be the cutting edge of training and serving and coming along beside the local church and doing things with them that it would be hard for them to do by themselves. So I believe that the best days of CE National are still ahead of us. I believe God's going to use us in great ways. I believe that He has a calling on this organization, is going to keep pushing us forward. And I believe that we're in time of big transition and a real financial crisis, and that God has given us a path that He wants us to follow as we move forward. These decisions aren't made in a vacuum. So Ed and I made a lot of these decisions together. Of course, the board of CE National is fully involved and behind all that we're doing. And we want you to be involved in that too. So we've made lots of Zoom calls and put out lots of mailers and even this video because we know that you have an ownership of CE National. CE National is not mine, it's ours. And we want you to have that ownership and you to have that belief as well, because the ministries of CE National have impacted hundreds of thousands of people over the years. And just like they have impacted my life, they've impacted yours as well. So I want to invite you into this process. I want to invite you in financially. I want to invite you in through prayer. And I want to invite you in through ownership. And we want you to know what's happening. We want you to be praying. We want you to be a part of it. And we want to continue to serve together as a network as we continue to do what we believe God has called us to do. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for your prayers and your support as you watch this video. If you want to support us financially, there's a button here on the website. Click that. We would covet that. We need it right now. So we would be grateful for it. But mostly we want you, right? And we want you so that we together as CE National are moving forward to the place that Christ has called us to be.